A new model just debuted in Vogue magazine. She is wearing Guess. She's flawless, but there's a problem. She's not real. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the API for Everyone Daily Brief. This is a very interesting story. The August issue of Vogue magazine has a full page ad from a company called Guess. Now, I was shocked to hear that Guess was even still around. I'm a Gen Xer, and this was a brand that is known for a triangle on the backside of very tight jeans on women. I'll just leave it at that. But this was very iconic in the late 80s and early 90s. So apparently they're still around and still a company. So they have a full page ad in Vogue magazine. The ad features a blonde woman in a summer dress. She is looking styled, posed, and everything you would think of when you think of a high fashion model. But there's a very small disclaimer in the bottom of the ad that states this is AI generated. So this model is not real. It is not real. So this was an AI generated model created by a company called Seraphinne Vallora. They're a company that designs digital avatars for these brand campaigns. And this marks the first known instance of an AI generated model in Vogue magazine's print edition. Well, there's another shock, right? There's still a Vogue print edition that goes out. Maybe I'm just out of touch, but I haven't touched a print magazine in so long. Who out there, any of you buy print magazines? If you do, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what magazine you buy, why you still buy the print edition, and all of that. So I found that interesting. But the founders of this company, Seraphinne Vallora, say that Guess commissioned this ad to create some buzz. But critics are saying, well, yeah, it's creating buzz, but for all the wrong reasons. Because the fashion industry over the last, I don't know, at least a decade, has really put a focus on more inclusion. So adding models of all kinds of different race, gender identities, even special needs and whatnot we've seen on the runway. So it always hasn't been perfect by any means, but it has been at least a movement of the culture in wanting to see models that looked like us. And that's just part of culture. My generation wanted fantasy. We wanted the most beautiful women, the most beautiful men, and we aspired to be like that, even if we could never look like that or be that. It was still this kind of fantasy that we had. And then the most recent culture, they wanted models that looked and represented them. So I think that was a pretty good thing. But, both pendulums swung way too far one way or the other. And the hopes always is that you get that pendulum back in the middle and everybody has some common sense again. But this ad feels like a complete pivot away from that, because now we're not just using Photoshop to touch up a blemish on the face or to enhance breasts or, the thin your midsection or whatever the stuff that we all do in Photoshop. This is truly inventing and manufacturing an entire person. So how does this impact you? Well, if you run a company, if you lead a team, if you create content, we're working in a world where AI is absolutely starting to take over and it's reshaping attention. You only have to hang out on TikTok for a few minutes to scroll through and see all of the AI generated content that's happening out there. Some of the content that I've created and shared with all of you that's been AI generated. So you don't have to be Steven Spielberg or George Lucas to come up with these very cool animated videos. And soon they're not even going to look animated. They're going to look so real that it's going to be very, very challenging to tell the difference. But we need to understand that grabbing attention is not the same as earning trust. Okay, so we've got to make sure that we are playing by the rules of the consumer, of our audience, of our prospects, of our customers. because we do not want to trick them into thinking something is real when it's not. Because all the attention in the world is not going to do you any good if you lose their trust. I just watched a whole documentary on the founder of Papa John's. And if you know that story, like, it's incredible. This man built an incredible company, but literally burned it to the ground in a very, very short amount of time. Now, you could say this has been going on forever with PR teams, right? Maybe I'm a bad guy, but the PR team can work with you and run the narratives and do everything that it needs to do to make you look fantastic. But this is before social media. This is before recording devices. This is before cameras everywhere all the time. Now, if you're a bad person, it's going to come to light more than likely over time, right? I always said social media doesn't lie. Give social media long enough, a person's true colors always come out. As a brand, or if you are a marketing firm working with a company, or you represent your company in some way, we now have to understand that when we use these AI tools, great, it's awesome. I highly recommend using them, but please disclose that you're using them, and don't ever use them to trick, manipulate, or anything that would hurt the trust of the people that you're trying to speak to. Oh, one more thing. Come here. The interesting thing about these AI avatars that we have to keep in mind is that they don't breathe, they don't age, they don't gain weight, they don't exist. But yet millions upon millions of people, especially young people, this is the new standard that they are going to start holding themselves to. So we need to be very careful in the way that we use these AI tools, because as much as a responsibility that we have to protect our brands, our clients' brands, this next generation, these young people, we need to protect them too. Well, our time together has come to an end. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, like button, get in the conversation. Meet Charlie. Want to meet Charlie? That's Georgia right there. If you like Charlie, Georgia, Okie. There's Okie. That's a great way to support the channel. Well, my name is Harrison Painter. This has been your AI for Everyone Daily Brief. And until next time, keep creating, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep up.
Thanks for listening. I'm glad you stayed. One more spark for the plans you've made. If this show hit, go share the vibe. Like, subscribe, let's build this tribe.